That Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Halloween party was ratchet. Hello, guys. Welcome back to She's Speaking. I am covering all of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 2, episode by episode, and today we're covering episode 2, and it is the start of the Halloween showdown. Should I just get into it? Let's just get into it. All right, so we are picking up at Miranda's happy hour. Taylor asks, why now? Great question, Taylor. Great question. Miranda says, I wanted to work on my marriage, but now that I am not married, I can own up to things. Michaela's like, well, I don't want to be hanging out every weekend or anything, so okay, Michaela making it very firm, coming in strong. Got it. Whitney, she goes, I believe you. Thank you. Thank you, Whit. Thank you. Miranda really appreciates that. Michaela's confessional is, you know what? I hope they can link up and leave us alone. Okay. Michaela is savage. We'll get to this. We'll get to more Michaela. Michaela is on a journey, and I think Michaela is also like, because she's on such a journey, I think that she's a little raw and a little like almost like a live wire, like kind of like reacting to things that maybe she shouldn't, or maybe overreacting to things. And you know what I mean? And so Taylor goes, I think you thought that I led Chase on, but I didn't. And that's why he's obsessed with me. I did tell him about a dream. And Miranda says, yes, I feel like that opened up a space for him to feel comfortable opening things up to you. Now, about this, Taylor did not mention anything about saying to Chase, I had a dream about you. But I don't think that it's some big smoking gun that Chase seems to think it is. Like, oh, she said that? It's like, she said that, but you told her you caught feelings for her. And now that I'm getting more of Chase's energy, I'm like, I get what's happening. I get what's happening, or what happened. I have more of an understanding and a perspective. And I even noted about Chase online. Chase, from the TikToks and the things I would see, he just had like a real aggressive energy to him, like an angry, aggressive energy about it. And that was spot on. So there it is. But Miranda says to Taylor, it just hurt that you told everyone in the group except me. And Taylor goes, totally true. I was a bad friend. And this is why we love Taylor, because she has learned. We love growth. We love it. She still has a lot of other things to work on, which we will dissect and get into. But when it comes to where she knows to take ownership, she will take it. And we respect and appreciate that. But she makes a good point, Taylor. She says, I knew that when I told you, I would have lost the friendship. Because that's true. Like, how do you say, this, their little, swinging, their soft swinging situation could have been so fun if they had a level of maturity that I don't think many people have. But to talk about it and to set rules, because this is a culture. It's a real thing, being able to swing and share partners and stuff. But you have to be able to communicate it when you're not drunk and in the moment. Because then what ends up happening is there are no boundaries or rules, and you're going to fuck it up. And they all admit that. Like, if we had discussed what we were doing and said, like, this is what we'll feel comfortable with, what we won't feel comfortable with, it would have been okay. But instead it was, us partying too hard, especially the Mormon thing. Like, they're not even supposed to drink. And so like that, can you imagine that anxiety? Oh my God. You wake up and you're hungover, you have the anxiety, and then you're like, what did we do? Who was I kissing? Oh yeah. So I can imagine. But we're going to get into more of the way this all unfolded later. But it's sweet because I could tell Miranda really, you can see a very natural chemistry between Taylor and Miranda, like just as friends. I'm not trying to make it like sexual, but you could tell like some people are just sort of good together as friends energetically, and they seem like that type. And And Taylor apologizes for handling it wrong. I thought I'm loving it. But Taylor says in her confessional, poignant, I must say, she says, I think the other women forget that I was also a villain in that story. And I'm like, yes, bitch. Yes. Oh, so good. Because she was, right? She was. Like, the way she chose to go about outing it, she felt like she was getting outed on Reddit or something, and it was becoming a story without her control or out of her control. And so she wanted to take control, but in doing so, she threw everyone under the bus, and they were like, I'm not ready to talk about it. I'm not ready to go and talk to my parents. I'm only able to deny it. To me, I can see. Anyway, we'll just keep going. We'll just keep going. Jessie, I'm getting a vibe from Jessie. And Jessie kind of gave me, now she didn't kind of, she really gave me this vibe last season when she set them up to go to Chippendales. And I thought that was just a shitty thing to do, because if you know the people in your group have husbands that wouldn't like it, why test them like this? That's not fun for them. So now you just have the situation where you get to be like, wow, I mean, if your husbands weren't so controlling, then you could do whatever you wanted, but sucks to be you. So I've always kind of thought Jessie is a little sneakier than she appears. A lot of it's probably producer shit. A lot of that seems like a producer could easily tell her, like, this would be good. I mean, it'd be dramatic, but it would be good. And she's like, okay, I'll do it. That's probably a lot of it. But in her confessional, she goes, we still didn't get to the bottom of this swinging scandal, so I'm having a Halloween party next week, and I'm going to expand my guest list. Production was like, you should invite them to your Halloween party. Chase is dating my friend, so I will invite him and Miranda too. And then she says, of course, if we don't have trust in mom talk, we don't have trust in anything. I would say drink every time they say mom talk, but you'll be dead. They say mom talk more than they need to, but I kind of love it. It's very culty. It's very crazy. It's also, I hope they don't fall into the trap, though, of overusing confessionals, because like MTV does that, where they just overuse confessionals. And sometimes Bravo can do that. Not too much, but sometimes. Anyway. Layla, Demi, Jessie, and Michaela go shopping for Halloween, and they give their very strong opinions about Zach and Jen. They do not believe Zach can come back from Vegas. So I'm just going to leave that there, but that's what they're saying there. The guys go fishing, and it's all about Dakota wanting to do whatever it takes for his son. But then he says, Leanne invited me to a barbecue at their house. I'm like, of course she did. Of course that messy bitch did. She's something else. Well, then they ask Zach how it's going now that he's moved back home. And Zach says that they haven't been going to church because he's embarrassed because they actually had some nasty interactions with people there. Now, I would love to know those stories. What were the interactions just from the show? Please tell me. God, that's what I want to know about church. Dakota goes, oh yeah, I get death threats every day. And Zach's like, yeah, I get like 500 messages a day saying I should die. I'm like, really? God, it's not that bad. Like, why does anyone want to say that? Just ruin it for everybody. All right. As if this show isn't crazy enough, already Zach is meeting up with Demi and Jessie. And I was like, oh, it's on, bitch. I'm telling you, good producing, really good producing on this show. He owns up to, I'm sorry, I feel like he's very much owning up to it. He's like, I look like the biggest hypocrite, gambling and then complaining about Chippendales. I totally agree. And he says, I'm grateful for what you guys said because it's been transformative for our marriage. But then he says to Demi, some of the things you said were not true. Like, I did not gamble my parents' money that they gave me for school away. So they're immediately like, well, that's what Jen told us. Like, we wouldn't get that from anywhere but Jen. And then Jessie, like, they could not wait to side with Zach. It's very interesting to me. They're like, well, yeah, because then Jen says things to us like he has to learn how to not be a narcissist. And so she uses language that's a little scary. I'm like, hold on. You guys used scary fucking language. You guys did that last season. In Vegas, Jesse came in so strong about Zach. When they were sitting there, I was like, Jesse, you can take it down a notch. When they were all sitting there, because Jen, remember, she's like late to arrive to that activity the next day. And they're like sitting around some little bench area. I don't even know where they were in Vegas. And Jesse's like, I will not be around Zach anymore. He is a narcissist and he is abusive. And she was harsh. She was harsh. So now for them to be putting it all on Jen is kind of strange to me when you guys were totally feeding into this narrative. And it kind of, I feel like that's what gave Jen, whether this is good or bad, like the language that she uses with them. So they do this flashback to that first like Cowboys and Pillows influencer event from last episode. And Jen is saying that he has to work on his narcissistic traits, which are passed down genetically. I just feel like she's saying that almost to please them or to get them to believe that she is not a pushover. She's not just letting Zach do what he wants. They're working on their issues. Excuse me. I feel like that's what she feels like she needs to say to them because they've got this like judgmental, we don't believe that Zach can change thing, which, excuse me, I have the hiccups. Which they just said when they all went shopping. They just said, like, we don't believe there's a way he could ever come back from Vegas. And now as soon as he sits down and seems like he's actually changed, they're like, well, it's all Jen's fault. I'm like, you guys, okay, all right. Jesse's confessional is that there's always been a part of Jen that didn't feel trustworthy. That I can see that with Jen. I can tell that she's nervous and doesn't really know who she is. And I can see that. But then Zach, so back to this whole thing, Zach says that no one has reached out to Jen. And they're like, bullshit. We do reach out, but she doesn't respond. But then Jessie kind of contradicts herself here because she says that maybe like 4 or 5 days later, Jen will respond. And it's not like you couldn't have called her. It's not like if you really wanted to show her that you were there for her, you could have reached out. Jen also said that she group texted everyone and none of you replied. So I don't know if I totally believe Jessie, and I can tell Demi has not even reached out. I feel like Demi's like, I've tried to text her. I'm like, no, you haven't. No, you haven't. I can tell you haven't. I can tell by the way you're talking. But now Zach is like, wait, hold on. Now I have to take in all this new information. So he's like, I'm gonna have to have some tough conversations with Jen. All right. Well, next up is the barbecue at Taylor's parents' house. What the fuck? First, before Dakota even gets there, Leanne is asking about Jesse's Halloween party coming up, and she goes, I wish I could go. I'm sure you do, Leanne. And Taylor goes, oh, why? So you can befriend Chase and talk to him? And Taylor's sister Bryn is there, and she goes, I don't know why you talk to him. And Leanne goes, they're nice to me. Why should I be mean to anybody? I like everybody. Girl, because you're like, is he filming? That's what you're thinking. We can tell. Leanne was Chase and Miranda's realtor and when they were married. And so she's always kept in touch with them, which, you know what? Fine. She needs the client. I don't know. All right. So they sit to eat and it's with Taylor's whole family, her brother, her sister, one of their significant others, and Taylor's dad, who's like her stepdad, but her dad. She calls him dad. So Leanne opens and she says to Taylor, it's just so exhausting going back and forth. We're tired of it. Okay. And then the dad, he comes in and says, it's obvious that you guys started your relationship on a foundation of shit. All right. This is tough. And then Taylor's brother, Hunter, is like, you're not giving 100%. And I'm like, LOL, what are we talking about? What is happening? Then Taylor goes, you come over the next night, fuck me. And then you go and hang out with another girl. And then he comes in the next night and fucks me again. Well, then her dad comes in and he goes, here's the thing. He just told me that you guys had seen each other 3 times, I don't know, before all of this. And then you're sitting here telling me that he came over and had sex with you. What does that say about you? I my I I almost fell off the couch. What? What? Shut the fuck. I could not believe that. He was like saying it so like intense to her face too. He's like, "What's it say about you?" Oh my God. She's like, "So like I deserved it, basically?" Yes. Yes, that's what your father is saying to you, girl. I mean, the savagery of that. Taylor literally is like, "I guess what I'm hearing is I deserved it because I gave it up so fast." And she goes, and then when I hear them say that, I'm hearing, "Why were you expecting to be respected? Because of the way you were acting." I'm like, that's literally what they're saying. Like, you're picking it up right. You're picking it up right, Taylor. Jeez. Her dad's like, what I'm trying to say is like, no, but Taylor is at a whole other high octave crying level at this point. She's like, he knew I was at my lowest and he lied. I knew I didn't have any self-respect. I just found out about this. Like, it's a lot. I'm like, do the neighbors ever call? I'd be listening. My neighbors were fighting the other day, the building across a little walkway from me. I was in heaven until they shut the door and I couldn't hear anything. Hunter, the brother, is like, no one's saying get over it. I'm just saying sacrifice it a little. Sacrifice what? Who are you people to be giving this woman advice? What? I don't think you guys are qualified. Taylor's like, I was only nights. And Dakota's like, that's the biggest lie I've ever seen in my life. I feel like he sees this as a perfect time to bust her in front of her parents. He's like, and when you're asking me to come over all the time, what is that telling me as a guy? Am I right, parents? Am I right? Because they didn't fucking know she was still having sex with him because she's all proud of herself, being like, oh yeah, no, he moved out. Okay, it doesn't count if you keep having him come over to fuck you. It really doesn't, girl. You cannot flex with that. Trust me. They get Ever out of there, thank God, because it's just so toxic. And Leanne is just pushing for Taylor to try. If you love him, try. If you love him. And Dakota starts going off and crying. And he's like, and you know that I want to try. And you don't care. And I feel like Taylor's sister was like, all right, before this goes into some bullshit territory from Dakota, now you're both performing. She's like, you guys need to separate. You need to focus on you. She goes to Dakota, you need to work and focus on you. You need to work, sir. You need a job. All right? And this doesn't count, being on a TV show at all. But that's what he's hoping for. And then she goes to her sister, and you need to go to therapy. It's time. Leanne makes them pray. This scene, it's so dramatic. There's this dramatic version of Cry Me a River. Taylor is holding her head, sobbing as they pray. It's good. When you hear orthotic shoe, do you not think of the ugliest shoe ever? Vionic Shoes has truly revolutionized medical orthotics. Yes, they are engineered with VioMotion technology, which strengthens your natural movement and aligns you and balances you feet first, but they're also chic as hell. I have the Uptown Willa, which is part sneaker, part moccasin, very streamlined, very wearable. I have the Uptown Loafer, which is part loafer, part sneaker. And I'm telling you, if I had known about those shoes when I worked in the restaurant business, my feet, my knees, my hips, my back, my whole body would be better for it. My latest pair is the Monarch sneaker, the one with the leopard print accent. And They are my favorite shoe of all time. I have used inserts in shoes, ones that I even got custom made. I've never felt a shoe align my body like I have when I put on Vionic shoes. I'm so freaking grateful that they sponsored this podcast and introduced me to the world of their shoes because I've always had bad feet. I've always had bad knees. I've had bad ankles. I didn't know that there was a shoe out there that could actually feel good. And Vionic shoes makes heels too. I might even try a pair of heels. Look at me. If they have the VioMotion technology in it, I'm trying it. I'm sorry, I'm trying it. Go to vionicshoes.com, VIONIC shoes.com, and use code SheSpeaks at checkout for 15% off your entire order when you log into your account. One-time use only. vionicshoes.com. Use code SheSpeaks. Wearable well-being for your feet. All right. Zach, he's got to talk to Jen about his little lunch with Jesse and Demi. And he's like, they were saying that the reason we have such negative feelings towards you, meaning me, is that every time we're with Jen, all it is negativity. All she says is how horrible you are and how narcissistic you are. That's not totally fair. If that's the way he heard it from them, that's not good. That means that they're shitty for even delivering the message like that. But that's just not true. Like, just for Jen has tried her best to defend him, but she just doesn't really know how to stand up for anything. And so Jen is like, I haven't even really talked to them at all since Vegas. In fact, they never even reached out. And Zach goes, yeah, so they called you out for that too. He goes, it didn't feel like it was, how do we squash our beef to then support Jen? It kind of felt like it was everyone. And then Jen fills in against Zach. And he goes, no, against you. She's like, twist? What? What the fuck? Zach is like, I'm careful with what I say to my friends about our marriage. So, if you could. And Jen goes, all I've done since Vegas is defend you on social media with my friends. And at the same time, I'm also not defending your actions, but I have defended you in our relationship more times than you can even count. And do you know how many people, have made me feel delusional for doing that and the crap I've been through for defending you and your actions? Now that's I just hear the conflict. I hear that she's like, I'm supposed to defend you, but I also look stupid defending you. So do you even know why you're defending him? You know what I mean? And Zach goes, if you don't trust them, then don't share all the negativity about our marriage. And Jen starts to say something, and then Zach kind of says something, but Jen goes, wait. You're not listening to me. Let me speak. You spoke for 5 minutes. And even I was like, that's a little firm. I feel like you've been talking to, like, it's kind of gone back and forth. And these moments where I'm like, I feel like this is kind of what Demi was saying about how Jen gets a little bit bigger and bolder in the scene and it sort of doesn't match. Because then Zach's response is like, oh, okay, like, what are we doing here? I feel like Jen is now very aware of the cameras and is trying to not get all this social media feedback about how she needs to stand up for herself and whatever. Like, she's trying to juggle the way she's representing herself and okay, I'm belaboring a point. I get it. Jen thinks the solution is to get everyone in a room together to talk about it, and I'm all for it. Let's do it. Well, while all that's happening, which I'm so sorry, now that you guys have had an argument with Jen or with Zach or whatever, when Demi and Brett go to Jesse and Jordan's house to talk about this whole Halloween party and the Chippendales thing, I'm thinking at some point, guys, maybe you switch gears because they're fucking fragile, obviously, and your relationship with Jen is fragile, clearly, because you guys just threw her ass under the bus. Jordan asks Brett if he's a pot stirrer, and Brett goes, no, I'm a therapist. And I'm like, okay, where did you guys get the idea you're a therapist? Like, you and Demi are not like medical experts. You're not mental health professionals. The Chippendale's dancer being flown in for this, it just feels like a flex for them. It feels like they're like, we can do this, so it's special, something that we own. And it really feels like an excuse to show off Brett and Jordan's bodies and then have a male dancer there. I could tell, I'm like, this doesn't really make sense. It would have made so much more sense and felt like a fun thing to do if they had been like, Zach, why don't you dance with us? I doubt Zach would have done it, but if they had asked, I wonder if he would have. If they had asked and they could be like, we don't have to get like our shirts off or whatever, maybe we can just like be a little more modest about it. But then also they could have seen Jack's, different show, could have seen Zach's face and been like, maybe not. I don't think he likes it. I don't think he likes the idea of this. So let's abort mission. Because this isn't going to be some Vegas club or a bachelorette party. It's a bunch of Mormons in a house party. It's going to be very awkward. So, well, speaking of, next up, Zach and Jen go to Jesse's house to talk, the four of them. All right, so Jen doesn't think it's fair of them to say she's only talked negatively about Zach, because I do agree with that. That's not fair. And she says, in fact, I've talked more about the progress we've made. Jess goes to say something, but then Jen cuts her off and goes, I know that I've vented to you at times because I felt I could trust you. I feel like this moment is Jen. To me, the energy Jen was giving in this scene was, I'm trying to communicate with all of you what I need you to say. Because now that we are all in a room together, I need the cameras included. I need you to hear that, yes, I might have talked about things about Zach, but I said that in confidence, so don't bring that up right now. I thought I could trust you. So, okay, but I agree. Like, the fact that they flipped it so fast and told Zach, well, she just talks about you all the time. That's why we don't like you. Ew. All right, so Jess goes to say something, but again, Jen cuts her off and says, but the reality is our relationship is good and solid. Like, I'm trying to tell you guys. So Demi asks for some clarification on the gambling family money thing. And Jen goes, yeah, maybe you want to clarify that. And then Zach goes, I mean, we can get into that, but I would prefer that you just tell the truth. And that is not the truth. And so Jen goes, no, he didn't gamble the money his parents sent us. Okay, that's a big one. That's a big one, Jen. I'm sorry. That's a big one. And Zach owns up to it. He goes, I gambled money behind her back. Yep. And I had sports bet behind her back. That's all true. And then Jen goes, I think I clarified. I don't remember telling you if I did. But then Jen switches it up and turns it on them because she had to. And she goes, if you had good intentions, you wouldn't have continued to talk bad about my relationship. Demi tries to claim that she's like, no, I'm always team marriage and team work it out. Go back to last season, girl. You did not have that vibe. The vibe was not, I'm rooting for your marriage. The vibe was, Zach is a bad guy. And are you happy? Like, get out. That was the vibe. So Zach tells them that Jen doesn't feel like she was a good friend or that they were good friends to her. Like, no one was there for her. And Jess goes, I sent you a text and a voice memo and you ghosted us. And then Jen goes, no, I disagree. And Jess is like, it's not something you can disagree with. It's a fact. I reached out multiple times and you didn't respond. And Jen's face is like all kind of twisted up. She's like, no, I swear. She's trying to like find the answers. She's trying to like find, it's so odd. She's fascinating to me. Demi goes, you chose to remove yourself. And Jen says, but rightfully so, because I confided in you as a friend that I trusted. This is about how she showed Demi the text from Zach that night in Vegas. And Demi told everyone the next day about the texts. That she's got to be talking about that. Because that would seem to me, I did feel weird that Demi was just like telling everyone. And I guess I kind of assumed that Demi was telling everyone because she asked Jen, like, is it cool if I tell everyone? But instead she was just like, no, I'll just tell everyone. Right? She says, I didn't expect that you were going to exploit this information. And then you told the whole group. So I'm like, that's got to be that. And then how could I turn to you after that? I agree. Jen says, if you had come to me, because you have, after Italy, you did come to me, and I could easily talk about that, which I'm not going to. I'm like, oh, so you you wanted to bring that up, didn't know exactly when, and then she found a way. She found a way to remind her, I got something on you. And Demi goes, about what? And Jen says, just about everything that happened in Italy. What happened in Italy? Well, just how after Italy, Brett was crying to you, and Demi cuts her ass off and goes, no, he wasn't. He was like, you have nothing to worry about. And in Demi's interview, this is what she says. Some of the girls and I took a trip to Italy to go to Vanderpump Villa, and one of the guys, Marciano, was super flirtatious, and I felt like I handled it the best that I could. Truly did nothing wrong. I'm digging and trying to find any information she has about the groping and the SAing, because she, I'm very curious. The next scene is Jen figuring out her costume, and the Ben Affleck thing comes up. Dude, Jen sits face to face with Zach like, you're not going to make me look stupid when that's all I've been told from your family. And Zach goes, I had told you for months. And Jen goes, but do you truly know if that's true or not? And he goes, no. And I never claimed that either, babe. And she goes, but have you heard that from your family? And Zach goes, I've heard that as a joke. No one's ever claimed to have some relationship with him besides you. Jen says, well, how do you jokingly say that to someone when they're being married into a family? And Zach goes, you just ran with it. And she goes, of course I ran with it. I'm second cousins to Ben Affleck. And then he goes, no, you're not. Well, or maybe you are. I don't know. In the Entertainment Tonight little mini reunion thing that they did, she is asked about that. And she's like, she was very weird about it. She's like, it was told to me as a joke, but then I also then asked his grandpa, and his grandpa's like a doctor, and he like showed me the relation, and like I thought he said he met them at some family function. And so, I mean, that's what I was told. And then Zach said, well, if my grandpa said it, then yeah, it's true. And I don't believe her. I really don't. I think that she knew it was a joke, because she's like, I said it one time in an interview and the press ran with it. I'm like, I also think you said it in your confessionals a few times too, and said about how you were like the first Jennifer Affleck and stuff. I think I think that you did. You ran with it, and then you didn't expect people to do like the genealogy and go that they're not related. So, it's embarrassing. All right, Jesse and Jordan, for their Halloween party, are dressing as J-Lo and Ben. And that's even just more, I'm telling you, it's like, Jesse, I don't think you have good intentions. Even if you were in a good place, because she's like, I didn't know we'd have a fight before this all went down or whatever. I'm like, even if you were in good speaking terms, I feel like, especially because the whole thing about the Ben Affleck relation was in question and being talked about, like you guys doing it, it's not so innocent, right? Jordan has convinced Dakota to come. And again, Jess with the messiness. She tells Layla, they have a baby together. They can be at a party together. Okay, well, no. But I guess this is not Housewives. So I'm very used to shows where like the men are not included unless it's like a privilege, right? So on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but it's about the wives. It's about the wives. But Jesse's just messy. Very much will do what a producer is like, this could be good TV. And she's like, done. Chase arrives with his girlfriend, Kate. Miranda also arrives. She has a good relationship with Chase and his girlfriend. Chase beelines right to Dakota, which is such a fucking choice. And he goes, I don't know why we hate each other. Have you asked Taylor if I ever fucked her? Because the answer is no. Dude, you just got here. All right? He goes, did anything happen outside of spin the bottle? No. But everyone in the world thinks I fucked her. Zach, by the way, Jen's Zach, is totally leaning back trying to hear this conversation. He's like, are they talking? Like he's trying to get the tea. Chase says that he hadn't told his parents he left the church, so when Taylor first came out with it, he denied it. But then Chase starts pointing at Taylor. She's across the room and he's like pointing towards her, so she obviously is like, okay, I'm going over there. He was saying, I want to tell her that, but also that the cheating situation was only her. And then Taylor walks over and Chase opens with how many good memories he has with her and her family. But he goes, but also you bring out the lowest point of my life. So I, in turn, bring out the lowest point of yours. Now he's pointing right in her face and I'm getting pissed. And she goes, what's the lowest? And he goes, when you announced we were swingers. And she goes, oh, that's your lowest? Are you sure? And Chase goes, what do you think is lower than that? And she goes, I won't bring it up for your sake. And then Dakota, he goes, well, don't bring it up and then not say it. And I'm like, not the fucking move right now, bro. And she goes, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. Don't tell me what to do. I'm like, yeah, you had to see that coming. And you're defending Chase? And so Chase is putting his hand right in Taylor's face. His girlfriend comes over. He just like kind of pushes her. He's like, okay, I got it. Give me a minute. He's like, are we going truth for truth now? Did you tell me in the gym that you had a sex dream about me? And she says, yeah. And he, looks at the camera and he goes, okay, say that right there to the camera. And Taylor's like, bitch, I already talked about that. Ooh, anything else? And he goes, why did it take 2.5 years? Chase, sir, I don't think it's the smoking gun you think it is. I'm not like, do I get that Taylor was probably secretly deep down thinking that it was something cute to do? I think Taylor's used to being the cute one. You know, she's used to being the little cute, sexy one that everyone likes. And so, yeah, I think part of her was maybe saying that to Chase, to whatever. But then, like, you also then said you caught feelings for Taylor, but now he starts denying it. She goes, it didn't. What did you tell me at the gym? And he goes, he like looks at the camera. He's like, I said I also had a sex dream about you. And now all the people, this is a small house party at this point. This is not like a big club or bar where there's other things going on. This is this is it. This house party, it's just people standing around. And if that's going on at a house party, you're all watching. Okay, that is it. I'm sorry. If you were expecting me to go about my business, forget it. This is all I want to look at right now. Chase keeps looking right at the camera, too. It's like such a douchebag. The camera zooms in on that one guy. I think he's a Bachelor Nation person. The one black guy at the party. They zoom in on him and his face is just like, where am I? While all this is going on, they'll cut up to Jordan and Brett upstairs, like prepping for their Chippendales performance. It's just the chaos. Taylor, though, gets mad at Dakota for believing Chase, as she should, and Chase's girlfriend is now hugging him and whispering, stop pointing at Taylor. So we all can see it, okay? Dakota's like, I just found out about the sex dream 2 weeks ago, a month ago. And Chase goes, oh, wow, you never told him? That's really opportunistic. Okay, again. Taylor's interview is really funny to me. She's like, whose side are you on, Dakota? I don't care if you believe whatever. If you're my partner, you have my back. I'm like, girl. She goes, and then we discuss it at home. First of all, he doesn't live in the home. Second of all, if this is your partner, you have been avoiding him the entire party already up to this point. You've not spoken to him, said hi to him, nothing. So I feel it's silly for you to be like, have my back, be my I'm like, you guys aren't even really together right now. All right. Taylor yells over to Chase's girlfriend at one point and goes, your boyfriend's a fucking liar. And then Kate is crying to Miranda, which is actually really sweet. She's like, I want to leave. And Miranda hugs her with her lobster claws still on. These lobster claws, her commitment in those lobster claws was incredible. The episode ends with Taylor saying, fuck you, you're a liar, and the cops showing up. Ghetto. It's ghetto. And it's incredible. Right? Okay, that wraps up 2. We will be getting into 3 next time. See you then. Love you. Mean it. Thanks for tuning in to She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. This show is produced, hosted, and edited by me, Emily, and brought to you in partnership with Cloud 10 Media. If you are looking for bonus content, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. To show some support, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Another free way to support the pod, please rate and/or review on whatever platform you listen. It's free, and it helps the algorithm or something. You could also head to buymeacoffee.com/shespeaks and buy me a coffee or two. Make sure you're following me on all social medias. I am She's Speaking with Emily Hanks across all platforms: Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. Thank you guys. See you soon.